investment groups?
Well, I think to get more local investment, I think entrepreneurs have to show venture capitalists that are local that they can make money doing it. It takes one big success and then the region will take off. So if you guys can create, you know, a Skype or a search engine or something that makes so many people so much money that if there's just one out there, it will be the model for success and people will pile on and there will be more money than you can imagine. So if you're an entrepreneur right now, you should be encouraging the success of all the entrepreneurs around you rather than trying to fight each other, because you want one of you to be really big, because then the money will flow right in. And I think that's the key to success. You know, we always say that, you know, to start the environment, the virtuous cycle of venture capital and entrepreneurship, it really takes a community where the investors kind of all jump in together. They each put in a little bit of money and pile it together and take a chance together, and then they all try to cheer on the business. The lawyers, the accountants, the bankers, the headhunters, they all have to understand that they might be working for free for a while, or maybe for stock, as a way to get these businesses going. And then I think the press needs to have a regular show or a regular article or a regular audio play that tells the audience that there's this other startup. Hey, here's another startup. Here's another startup. Here's another startup. The press has to get involved and say all the great things that are going on in the region, and then the region becomes popular.
Perfect. Another question. In which stage would you invest in a startup, and what do you think about angels?
Well, I've said that we are willing to invest at any stage. And I think angels are fantastic, and you need a lot of those angels in Brazil and wherever else. Angels are going to be the ones who do most of the funding of the companies in your region until the bigger institutional investor, venture capitalists come in and want to take a look. So I would nurture the angel community, and I would have the angels work together so that they don't have to risk quite as much on any one deal, but they instead invest in a number of different companies.
And previously today was one of the persons sent an email, and I really like it. Is in the idea of the entrepreneur in residence, that is a concept that you use into the venture capital organizations. What could be a way to invite entrepreneurs that are really much willing to learn all this process and learn it in the original place that is here in the Silicon Valley?
Learn in the Silicon Valley or learn in Brazil?
The point is how you learn. Well, it's going to be hard to learn in Brazil because there's very few venture capital success as you described. How bring temporarily people to learn, exercise, and really understand, because all the points about these big markets, all these big opportunities are sometimes very hard to grasp when you don't have that connection directly with the market.
Yeah, I'm not sure whether, yeah, it may be interesting. It's always interesting to travel, so I think it's always interesting for entrepreneurs to come up to the Silicon Valley, but make sure you come up with a real purpose, come up with an eye toward building a relationship with Google or Oracle or any number of the companies that are here in the Silicon Valley. I don't know whether just coming up and being an entrepreneur in residence would make you a better entrepreneur. I think it actually might make you want to be a venture capitalist instead, and then that wouldn't be all bad, but it wouldn't be encouraging more entrepreneurship there. If you came to the Silicon Valley to start your business, this is a wonderful place to start a business. Or it's a good place also to do a branch office if you need to do business development up here. People are expensive here, though, so it costs a lot for an engineer in the Silicon Valley, and they're a lot less expensive in whatever country you're in. So I don't know whether the entrepreneur in residence thing is a tremendous success. It's and I'll tell you what is a great success here is there's a group called Plug and Play, and they have a big real estate facility, hundreds of thousands of square feet, maybe millions of square feet, where lots of entrepreneurs all come together sort of in a campus environment, and they live and work there. They don't live there, but they in effect live there, and they all get to know each other, and they're all helping each other along, and that environment is very supportive for an entrepreneur. And there have been some good successes that have come out of there, and so I think that kind of thing could easily be started in Brazil or other countries of the world. You just get a good facility, and you make it an open facility for entrepreneurs to come into, and I think that could end up being having a big advantage.
There is another question. What is the best way to approach a venture capital? Like, what kind of emails really impress you? That, you know, like when they send you, a startup send you an email, what kind of information are you looking for that would be really impressive?
Good, yeah. From the emails, we'd prefer you just make those emails as straightforward as possible. We don't want it to be a flowing novel. We want it to be a very simple. If you can get it down to 7 words or less, you've done a great job. It's, you know, here is my business. Let's see. Here is my business. Este es mi negocio. Nosotros hemos esto. And it's like, we do this. We make what? We serve who? What? Make it very simple. Ideally, it's here are the 10 words that describe our business. Here are the 10 words that describe how big our market is. Here's the reason we are the perfect team for this, and the fact that we've come from Brazil is only an advantage because we've got a good test base of customers. Just something very simple for us to read, because just so you get the idea, I get about 300 business inquiries in a day, and of one sort or another. So I would also prefer that you have a business plan of some sort, whether that's the plan or a deck from PowerPoint or something in an attachment. So very simple letter to me and a very simple attachment that when I read it, I understand what you do right away. Not lots of bells and bars and charts and whatever. Just something that helps me understand it in the most simple way you can. Because we really are stretched for time and have too many opportunities and not enough time to evaluate them all.
Yeah. We have covered a little bit of these questions, and Giancarlo is sending on to us, but it's coming into a different structure as we asked it before. Mr. Draper, as you know, Brazilian market does not have an entrepreneur culture, including investor VCs and angel size. How do you believe we can create this culture in Brazil and in Latin America with money rounds like ABC and other practices from the mature entrepreneur markets?
I didn't get the last part. What about that ABC?
Yeah, we can create this culture in Brazil and Latin with money rounds like ABC series
and other good practices from mature. Oh, okay. Okay. Well, it is true that a lot of businesses are need money rounds like the A and B and C, but the very best businesses start with just the A round, and that may be all they ever need. To build the culture in Brazil, an entrepreneurial culture requires people to create a culture of a willingness to fail. They have to be willing to make mistakes and fail. They need to be able to fail over and over and over and still come back and try again. Because some businesses, it's the third time is a charm. In some businesses, it happens right off the bat. Some businesses have to change or pivot into one direction or another before they really find their market. So that's one thing. Another is that the culture has to be one of risk-taking. People have to be willing to risk their career, their resume. They have to be willing to take embarrassment. If things don't go well, they will be embarrassed, and they have to be able to take that embarrassment. Even when things are going well, if nobody around you understands what it is you do, it's a little difficult to carry on at a cocktail party or whatever. So I think it has to do with it's a social risk, it's a career risk, it's a money risk because you don't know if you're going to be paid. Those are big risks, and people have to feel that what you're doing is important because you are trying something. You're not doing something that's already been done. You're not selling more Oreos. There are plenty of Oreos on the planet. You're not selling Coca-Cola. There's plenty of Coca-Cola on the planet. You're not selling oil, or in your case, in Brazil, I guess it's ethanol. You're not doing something that's been done before. You're doing something new, and people have to understand that people taking chances is really good for a society. Society benefits from more and more chances as people take more chances. So, once again, I would say build a good culture of investors who are willing to take risks and lose their money, with the potential to make a lot of money. Lawyers, accountants, bankers, real estate agents who are all very forgiving and might be willing to take some stock instead of cash. And then the press making heroes of these startups. The press needs to understand that these people are heroes. They are trying to do extraordinary things with long odds at some extraordinary outcome. And the press needs to have a series of these because, I mean, if I write for the press, I'm not going to just write one article about one entrepreneur. I need to write a series. So in working with the press, look around at all the other people in the room or wherever you are, and they're all entrepreneurs, and tell the press that here are the 15 stories you can write about entrepreneurship. It helps them think about it in terms of a career rather than in terms of a one-shot press article. Beyond that, events like this where you get people together, you get them talking about entrepreneurship, thinking about entrepreneurship, drag people in, students, bring in a lot of students, make that happen. And then I noticed that a lot of the risk is there's often one person that really wants to take a risk and then their spouse does not. And what really needs to happen there is that the spouse has to understand that the entrepreneur is a hero and the spouse is going to make a short-term sacrifice and maybe a life sacrifice, but a short-term sacrifice for a long-term big goal at changing the nature of the environment. And so spouses have to understand that. Now, what's great is now there are a lot of women in the workforce and men in the workforce, And so if the two spouses are both working, one might take a safe job and one might be an entrepreneur. And if the entrepreneur goes out of business, you've still got the money coming in from the safe job. And if the safe job person gets fired, you've still got an opportunity with the entrepreneur. So I do love having women in the workforce. I think that makes a big difference. And so I'd encourage that too.
Great.